Your body, my choice. A slogan that might sound empowering at first glance, but hides a troubling reality. Today, we're diving into how this phrase has become a tool for harm, the dangerous ideologies it perpetuates, and why we must confront it head on. Hi, my name is Jaden, and I make commentary videos on culture, media, and kind of whatever's going on in the world that I feel like yapping about. And today, it's about the your body, my choice. When I heard this phrase for the first time, my first thought was, what? And that was it. I was just shocked because this is us going backwards, okay? The phrase, your body, my choice, that some political, or I don't know if he was a political guy or just like an influencer, this guy tweeted it, and now it's a thing. And I hate that because your body, my choice is kind of mocking the my body, my choice movement, which obviously I'm sure you've heard of, where it's about women's rights and us having control over our own bodies. So it's like, you know how like America got rid of like the ability to get abortions and birth control, stuff like that, and also like, you know, consensual like relations with people, stuff like that. And this is just trying to say that men can control women and we don't own our own bodies. Yeah, no thanks. That is awful. So this phrase is definitely something from the very far right people and anti-feminist groups, and it's weirdly enough all over like YouTube, and for some reason social media is like really holding on to like weird like right-winged conservative kind of posts lately. And I feel like this has something to do with Elon Musk because, in case you haven't been on Twitter, or X as they call it now, it is very, very right-sided, and that's literally all you will see on Twitter. Even if you try to block people, you will still keep getting that kind of content, and that is not good because we don't want to like consume content that doesn't align with our personal morals and beliefs and how we see the world and what drives us, you know? So, you know, call me what you want to call me, whether you think I'm just being woke or you think I'm just like, I don't know, but I don't care, because if you support the your body, my choice, you're not someone I want to be associated with. And it's that simple. Like, don't support that, okay? So I'm going to kind of break down what this is, why it's harmful in many aspects, and just kind of like try to brainstorm like things we can do to kind of get the world back to a better place, because we're like falling down, okay? It's not good. Let's start off with social media, because obviously digital platforms are kind of how messages spread and information gets tossed around, whether it's factual or infactual. Infactual, is that a word? I don't know. Anyways, whether it's true or false, stuff circulates online, and, you know, as consumers of media, we will kind of judge based off of our own like morals, beliefs, and perspective of certain things that are trending, and kind of figure out if it's something we align with or something we don't. And a study from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, also known as SID, revealed that platforms like YouTube Shorts actually aggressively push more misogynistic content to the viewers. You don't have to seek it out, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Is the algorithm is favoring misogynistic content, and it's pushing that because, you know, it has a conversation, whether you agree or disagree with it. It's the kind of topic people are gonna argue about in like comment sections, especially on shorts as well. Shorter form content typically does get more comments because, you know, it's shorter form. You can quickly watch it and quickly say whatever you want, and based off of like the 30 to like 60 seconds of content you've even consumed. And, you know, more comments means that the algorithm likes it. It's going to keep pushing it. So anything slightly or more controversial is going to be very popular on whatever algorithm of any form of social media. I also see it a lot on TikTok, which does make sense. TikTok is, like, again, short form content. I don't see too much like longer form content talking about this. I mean, like, there's a couple video essays that kind of break it down, like what I'm doing right now. The people that are like supporting the "your body, my choice" slogan, phrase, whatever the heck you want to call it, that's all on like shorter form content or on, like Twitter, where like angry misogynistic people hang out. Political context and influencers. So it kind of creates a little bit of a political split on influencers or celebrities, because some people are going to be more vocal about it and other people aren't. And then, of course, whoever is supporting whoever, like the fans of these people, they will either side with the celebrity or influencer, or they'll turn against them based off of their own political beliefs. If someone on social media, and of course the US election just happened, which is why this is becoming more of a conversation, because, we all know who won the American election. Yeah. So people obviously talking about like who they voted for, and, like trying to like endorse different people. So when people were supporting Trump, and those are the kinds of people that are part of the "your body, my choice" kind of people, their followers that support that celebrity might lean more towards, like the right-wing kind of content, because they're like, oh, the person I look up to is supporting this, and they have their reasons why they're supporting this, so I'm going to support this in order to support the person that I am a fan of. Wild, Because when you are a fan of like a celebrity or an influencer, you can kind of like ignore whatever your own beliefs are. That is a thing that can happen with people. So like maybe you were full on supporting like the "my body, my choice" movement, but then someone you really looked up to talked about how they don't support that, and then they started listing reasons why they don't. And then you kind of, since you're like so in awe with this person, that you kind of were like, okay, well, I want to be like them, I love them, I want to support them, so I'm going to believe in what they believe in, even if it's not something you necessarily believe in. Although there are a handful of people that just naturally think that way and do believe in not very great ways to see women. And, that's coming from a woman herself. Yeah. Outside of social media, you might be like, okay, it's just online trolling, whatever, like, get over it. But that's not really the case, because sometimes when things on social media blow up, especially when it's something more political based or a movement of sorts, it comes off of social media and into the real world. And it is a thing that has been happening in the real world. And my sister's friend actually witnessed this herself, because someone was trying to harass her, and their response when she was saying no was "your body, my choice." And obviously she was horrified. So it is kind of sleeping into the everyday life of people who aren't on social media, and this just kind of brings more like hate and harassment to women, and it's obviously physically and mentally damaging to people, especially if you are trying to assault someone and they say no, you're not giving them consent, and then they pull that card and they're like, just kidding, your consent doesn't matter to me because I'm a jerk. Obviously you can get into some pretty bad situations, especially with in the US not being able to have birth control or rights over your own reproductive system. Say there was an instance where you were assaulted, right? And then you got pregnant from said assault, and obviously you don't feel comfortable having a child with a guy who just assaulted you. In America, you can't do anything about it. You have to have that kid. There's no other option. And that's dangerous, especially with this movement. I don't know if I want to call it a movement, because I feel like a movement's more of a positive thing, but whatever. With this thing going around where men are trying to take advantage of women, and obviously for the attacker, there's no consequences to them. They're never going to see her again. But with women not being able to have control over their own bodies, that leaves them in a rough spot. They could also be struggling financially. Obviously, they would be struggling mentally, and they would not be equipped to raise a child. And it's a lot, you know? Even people that are younger as well, like teenagers as well. Like, assault isn't just limited to, like, adults, okay? You can be assaulted literally from the day you were born. Like, there's no age, okay? And not being able to have support or even be able to be part of like women's help groups or anything like that is awful, because there's so many people that are struggling and have went through these experiences where consent was not an option despite them needing it, obviously. And with this new like misogynistic trend going around, men are just going to start taking even more advantage of women, and that's going to be harmful overall. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm getting at. Like, I'm just walking in circles here just because it's just so appalling. It's just hard to kind of, I guess, express what this is like, especially since, I'm not American. However, American politics always kind of trickles into Canada a little bit, which is where I live. And just like seeing it and noticing as well lately, the like there's been definitely a shift since this kind of thing started, and it's literally only been like a couple of weeks, honestly. And you're already seeing these things happen, right? Like, catcalling is, it's a thing, it happens. But I've also noticed it happening a lot more recently. People are also getting more touchy and more physical and more aggressive because they're not respecting people at all. And, like, it's scary too, because, if like a total stranger is just assaulting you, whether it's physically or just verbally, it's not a good feeling, and feeling like you don't have control over your own body, your thoughts, and your emotions is a really scary thing. And I'm just worried about how this is gonna affect people long term. And like, we've just digressed so much from where we were, like women just, I don't know, it's just complicated. And then like the whole trad wife thing becoming more popular, it feels like we're kind of going back in time to when women were just stuck at home and forced to have a family, and that's it. They can't do anything else. They had no say, they had no authority. And it just kind of feels like with this becoming as like popular as it is, that we're really backtracking on any improvement that we have made. And it's scary to think like what will happen within the next 4 years while Trump is the president, and how that's going to affect Americans, of course, how it's going to trickle into Canada, how it might transfer over to different countries. And like, I don't know, it's gross. And no one deserves to be assaulted in any way. We should have say and control over our own bodies. It should not be someone else's choice. It is you, it's your body, and it's just disgusting. So, what can we do exactly? I have a couple little things here. Hopefully, they're somewhat helpful, I guess. First one is algorithmic regulation. So platforms like YouTube must take responsibility for content they amplify. Regulatory frameworks should focus on systematic risks rather than just individual harms. So it's kind of like retraining the algorithm in a way and kind of adjusting the kind of content you're consuming. I always say that you should be consuming content that brings you joy and doesn't make you feel bad, and to unfollow or block anyone that does kind of bring down your mental health or self-image or anything like that. So it's kind of the case here, although it still is important to be aware of the news and kind of what's going on, but just kind of limiting what will show up in your feed so that way you're not stuck consuming such negative and hurtful content. The second one is education and awareness. So that's when you're challenging these ideologies with understanding their origins and countering them with informed discussions. So if someone is discussing something, you know, like misogynistic, you can counter it, you know, do your research, be informed, know like what to say, how to respond, and give facts, and opposed to just like being angry and upset with people. Explain to them why it's harmful, and like maybe they don't understand, you know, maybe they were just confused and just kind of went with it because it was trending. Some people don't put their research in. So if you put in the research to understand why this movement's bad, explain how it's harmful, that will educate people and hopefully just kind of calm some things down. Of course, other people will get very angry about it, and that's when you need to start distancing yourself from people that don't make you feel good. The last one is solidarity and advocacy. Feminist movements must remain vigilant and adaptive, reclaiming the narratives and calling out attempts to delegitimize their work. I totally butchered that word. That's the dyslexia acting up. I can't. I'm sorry. Essentially, you know, supporting feminist movements, supporting feminist groups, finding people that lift you up, finding communities, finding safety, whether it's also looking into like women's shelters or trying to advocate for women's rights and trying to do some sort of a positive movement and just kind of sticking together with people and, you know, helping each other out. Pretty much everything I have to say on this topic. It's not a nice topic. I don't like it. I don't like talking about it, but it's important to talk about things that make you uncomfortable or make you feel unsafe because we need to spread that awareness. And, you know, hopefully you got a little bit more educated on this and hopefully you kind of understand. Even if you're like some random dude watching and maybe you didn't understand, hopefully you kind of see the picture from a women's perspective on how this is harmful and why it's just gross. Yeah, be nice to people, please. Respect people's choices, respect people's bodies, respect people's opinions. Just be a good, decent person, please. That's all I gotta say. This topic actually kind of worked me up, not gonna lie. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed my video. Please be sure to subscribe and thumbs it up and share your thoughts in the comments below on what your thoughts are about this. Have you ever been affected by something like this? I would love to hear and support if you need support. I'm always open to supporting people and hoping they feel loved and safe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!